200 credits. That was the wager Chickle had placed with the senior assessor, betting half a cycle's wages that the fleshy, unarmored biped would collapse before reaching Station 6. She was a logistics clerk. No combat rating. No physical enhancements. Then she clamped a plastic pen cap between her teeth, gripped the primary resistance lever, and the machine screamed. I promise you, what happened in that testing arena didn't just break the equipment. It shattered our entire understanding of biology. Listen closely. Just 30 Earth Standard minutes earlier, the most interesting thing on Chickle's provisional gym attendant roster had been a minor calibration error in the hydration dispensers. Then the human anomaly had walked in. Beneath the harsh glare of Testing Arena 12, Senior Assessor Dronic had tapped his mandibles in amusement when the human's profile loaded. Specialist Raya Kovacevic. Age 33. Assignment moving boxes. The Galactic fitness exam was a brutal equalizer. Designed over 15 years by Coach Telvan to test 400 registered species across 14 stations. The average completion time sat at 47 minutes. A quarter of all participants failed entirely. So, Chickle had proposed the wager. Easy credits for a junior attendant covering the floor. Dronic took it without hesitation. Then Raya Kovacevic stepped onto the high-gravity testing mat. She wore standard-issue trousers and a faded, painfully thin piece of primitive textile stretched across her torso. Fun Run 2019, the lettering read. It offered zero tactical utility. More baffling was the small plastic pen cap she chewed thoughtfully, a mundane anchor to whatever bureaucratic desk she had wandered away from. Station 1 tested sheer structural force. The machine was calibrated for Vrashi mandible pressure, where a standard elite score hovered around 340 pounds per square inch. Raya did not use her face. She wrapped two soft, fleshy hands around the primary grip bar and squeezed. The reinforced polymer groaned under the sudden, localized pressure. The console chimed. 1,180 psi, which meant the calibration algorithm was failing. Chickle reset the terminal. The numbers held. He vibrated a hesitant frequency toward Dronic. The human hadn't even engaged her primary weapons, whatever those were. A low, rhythmic thud. That was Station 2. Sprint and recovery. The metric demanded maximum velocity for 200 meters, followed immediately by cardiovascular stabilization tracking. Raya cleared the distance in 28 seconds. She looked slightly annoyed by the effort, adjusting her faded shirt. Chickle watched the biometrics monitor. 90 seconds later, her heart rate dropped back to a resting baseline. The recovery algorithm froze. It simply lacked a categorized biological framework for that speed of metabolic normalization. Stations 3 through 8 compressed into a blur of escalating confusion. During the endurance run, the system projected species-specific muscle fatigue at the 12-minute mark. At minute 14, the friction treadmill was humming at a high pitch. Raya was still jogging at a steady, rhythmic pace, rubber soles squeaking rhythmically against the mat, turning her head to ask Chickle if there was a water fountain nearby. At the flexibility station, she reached down to touch her lower manipulators, then pressed her palms flat against the floor tiles. Vrashi exoskeletons structurally shattered if bent past 15 degrees. The diagnostic screen flashed a bright red structural anomaly warning, assuming the subject had snapped in half. In the spectator gallery above, Chickle's clutch sibling, Pip, sat with 4 primary limbs clutching a larval datapad. By Station 7, the child stopped recording entirely. The metrics no longer corresponded to observable reality. At the reflex testing grid, the Vrashi average response time was 340 milliseconds. Raya Kovacevic swatted the randomized light nodes in 190 milliseconds, the pen cap still clamped casually between her teeth. At Station 9, the adaptive resistance module engaged. The apparatus was designed to incrementally increase opposing physical force until the subject reached absolute muscular failure. Raya pushed through 7 distinct resistance thresholds without breaking her steady breathing rhythm. At level 8, a loud, grinding metallic snap echoed across the floor. The machine surrendered completely. Raya stepped back, brushing dust from her trousers, and looked directly at Chickle. Is it stuck? Up in the observation gallery, Coach Telvan, the original architect of the testing apparatus, slowly stood up from his chair in horrified silence. She completed the final 5 stations in exactly 4 minutes. When Chickle frantically asked about her velocity, she simply shrugged. Squat, push, pull, run. We do these before breakfast. Chickle pulled her central file again, staring at the screen until his compound eyes ached. Her Earth fitness rating was officially categorized as average. The faded fabric she wore across her chest? Not a military simulation. A weekend hobby. Chickle stared at the active wager on his terminal, the same screen now displaying a completely shattered galactic record. Total completion time, 3 minutes, 11 seconds. The previous all-species record was 22 minutes, held by a Keldrothi elite combat specialist who had trained for 6 standard years. Raya had beaten it by 19 minutes, while chewing on stationary supplies. Specialist Kovacevic. Chickle approached her carefully, his datapad trembling in his lower claws. Your species' average physical profile exceeds our all-species elite record by a factor of 7. How? Raya finally took the plastic cap out of her mouth. We chased things. Literally anything. For fun. We never stopped. She tugged casually at the collar of her shirt. This was a weekend thing. 5 kilometers. My grandmother runs them too. Chickle's auditory receptors flattened. An elderly, decaying version of this creature did this for leisure. Dronic walked over, silently deleting the wager from the system matrix. The machine broke. Nobody won. Dronic muttered. Humans were not specialized for a single environment, nor did they possess the localized physical strength of a heavy worlder or the aerial speed of an avian hunter, but their terrifying evolutionary advantage lay in being adequately dominant across every single physical category simultaneously through sheer, unyielding cardiovascular endurance. They were persistence hunters. They managed internal thermoregulation by leaking water directly through their skin, allowing them to outlast anything that ran from them. The Vrashi equivalent of her 5-kilometer run would be a lethal exertion event for 94% of the planet's population. The testing apparatus would take Coach Telvan 18 months to redesign from scratch. He was already drafting a new maximum calibration tier, named simply Human Baseline. The entire physical ranking system had been invalidated. Chickle opened a new administrative file, his claws moving with fearful reverence as he typed the subject line. Reclassification request. Human logistics personnel. Apex generalist. Unranked. 2 months later, the arena lobby featured a new glass display case. Inside hung the faded recreational garment, preserved behind stasis shielding. Beside it, Pip had carefully mounted a digital drawing of a running human stick figure, accompanied by a larval calculation proving 5 kilometers was not a short distance.